What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. It's your girl, Shelly Nicole, with Drinks After Work with me, Shelly Nicole. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody had a great weekend. It was like an okay weekend. I didn't do much. Saturday I was supposed to go to a pool party for my nephew, and I ended up not being able to go because if you're not a resident of the said area where the pool party was, you were not allowed to go in. Whatever. So luckily, his mom called me and told me, like, hey, listen, don't come because they're giving people a hard time. So I ended up not going. So I had to circle back home. Luckily, I wasn't that far away. I think I was like 5 minutes away from my house when she had called me. So that's the good thing. But I was just so annoyed because I had bought him a card, I was ready, I had my swimsuit on, I was going to look cute, whatever the case is, and then I ended up not even going, so that happened. And then Saturday night went for some drinks with some coworkers. 2 of my coworkers are actually leaving to go to another agency, so we said our goodbyes and our good lucks and everything like that, and yeah, and then went to work on Sunday for 14 hours. Can I say that I'm exhausted? Yes, I'm exhausted. And did the same thing today. So, but it's for good reasons, trying to stack up the money as much as possible, get everything that I have to get done, pay your bills. And I have a trip coming next month, so I had to I don't have to go shopping because I have outfits from June when I was supposed to go away. That didn't happen, but I have those outfits, so I don't really have to get much of anything, but it's just like, a little extra coin never hurts, you know what I mean? So that's that. So today's episode, I actually did the live on Friday, I think. Friday or Thursday I did the live, right? And this episode, now I know I've been having the Drinks After Dark, and basically Drinks After Dark is just the summer version of Drinks After Work, because a lot of people are off in the summertime. If you're a teacher or if you have that leisure of having or taking more of the summer off, is kind of more of a time for you to relax. But a lot of this entire summer, I think I've just been doing things safe in a sense. I haven't really brought out the dark part, so I was like, you know what, for the rest of the month of August, we're gonna go dark. And when you think dark, you think uncut. You think raunchy. Yeah? So, this episode was actually brought to my attention when somebody mentioned it to me, and I was like, ooh, let's talk about it. So the episode today is, it wasn't that good. Now, we're all grown. At least I'm hoping that whoever's listening to this and watching this, you're grown. Correct. So, when I say it wasn't that good, then you know exactly what it is I'm talking about. Yes, we're talking about sex. It was not that good. Have you guys ever had a bad experience in the bed? And it was just really? Now, I know this is not Christian of me to be talking about this, but again, we're going to keep it cute. We're going to keep it real cute. We don't have to get all into too much detail, okay? But it came to my attention because someone had said that so many people are just giving it out nowadays, and that's guys and girls. It's not one specific sex that's doing it more than the other. But this guy has said to me that he had sex with, I think, 4 or 5 different girls this summer. Bless his soul, because what? I can't relate. I can't relate on any spectrum. It's been closed shop this summer. So he said he had sex with 4 or 5 girls, and he was like, if I had to rate them between a 1 to a 10 out of the 4 girls, I think it was 4 girls, maybe 5, I don't know. I'm gonna say 5. Out of the 5 girls, he gave 3 of them 1s, and then the other 2 were 10s. So in my head, I'm like, what qualifies for someone to be a 1 will qualify someone to be a 10. And had I ever had someone who was a 1 or like a 2, and I have, yes, I've had a, I've had a 2, and I give him a 2, like I said on the live. Like, this is nothing that I'm not saying that I already didn't say. I'm not gonna name drop, so don't ask me who was it or where they're from. I'm not gonna do that. But I've had a 2 before, and I was just like, I didn't know that it was a 2 until after, like after I noticed, like, okay, well, why am I not being able to do anything? Why is he always doing something to me? And again, we're keeping it peachy as much as possible. But why is it like he's always saying hello to my parts, but I can never say hello to his? And why am I never introduced to the train? But and he never tries to pursue the tunnel. Told you I'm keeping it PG. Work with me now, okay? And I'm just like, okay, so why is that not the case? It wasn't until I saw the size of the train, and I was just like, oh, well then. That's I think Thomas the Train is actually bigger than the train he had. So I was a little shook. I was a little taken aback, but I did end it. I did. We didn't continue talking. It was kind of like and it then brought me to the question of, is sex so important in a relationship? And honestly, I want to say yes. Like, some people will honestly sit here and say that it's not. One of my friends, he said that 60% of a relationship is based off of sex. And I do feel like that's the truth. I don't feel like it should be any more. My nose is itching. It should not be any more than that. But I do feel like we have put sex higher than that when it comes to relationships, and when it comes to finding or, being with that person. We've made sex very high, and the standards had to be extremely high. And I wonder if that's also the reason why so many of us are single, because we only look to that, and that's all we really want. On top of the whole, like, buying gifts and all this and that, showing off for social media that we've talked about before, I wonder if, like, we've put sexual intercourse so high that if it's not there, or if you're not at least a 10, or if you're not at least an 8, we don't even want to talk to you, or we don't even want to be bothered. And I had to ask myself this question too. I'm like, what? And then on the live, someone asked me this too. When I was thinking about this, they said, when you put certain people, like, if you were to put a guy in a category, I guess, what are the 3 things that he would have to have? Actually, no, it wasn't on the live. It was somebody else who had DM'd me this question. It wasn't on live. And they were like, what would be the 3 characteristics? And sex having to be one of them, that has to be, like, this guy has to have. I need someone, first thing is, you need to know how to communicate. That's the one and the first thing ever. I'm sorry, like, my nose is so itchy. I know you're looking at me like, why does she keep touching her nose? It itches, and just this nostril right here just itches. Communication has to be number 1. You need to know how to talk. If you don't know how to communicate and say exactly what's on your mind and what's bothering you, I don't know how much further this is going to go. Like, I cannot with the men who think that this is a game of charades. Like, I'm supposed to just figure it out, what's going on in your mind, and you're supposed to just tell me, like, I'm supposed to just, find clues and figure it out. We're too grown to be doing that. Speak your mind. You speak your mind about everything else. Speak your mind about how you're feeling. That's 1. 2, I like affection. I need affection. And if I don't feel or see you being affectionate towards me, I will feel like you don't like me. Like, that's just really, like, how I see it. And then I want to say, after that needs to be, what I said, communication, affection. And then I need to also know that, like, I guess, like, what's more important than sex, I also need to know that you have a relationship with God. I cannot with the, let me not say that. I understand that everybody has their own Everyone's going through their own valley or path in order how they want to get to know God and how they want to bring spirituality and bring God into their relationships nowadays. And I think it's great that more people are starting to understand that without a lot of things that we have, without everything that we have, we wouldn't have what we have without God. We wouldn't have what we have without Jesus and his sacrifice and everything that we have. So I think that that's great that we're all coming to that understanding and that conclusion. But what I've noticed too, even when I was dating, it was just like either the guys would speak on it like, yeah, I believe in God and I have everything because of God. But they never opened up the Bible. They never once spoke about like, let's go to church. They never went on YouTube and probably watched a sermon. I've never heard them really speak about like, let's have a conversation about like, what do you think? You know what I mean? And that's really big too. I mean, I want to say like, that's probably my first one I will put up there. I would put that number 1. Then 2 is communication, and 3 is definitely affection. All of those 3 things are the same thing that I will give to you that I expect you to give to me back. But then I also do feel like if you have to pick 5, sex will be number 5 for me. Like that would be on the bottom, but that would be something that it has to, have to be compatible with you. I have to feel like, okay, he knows my body, I know his body, what he likes, what I don't like, what I like, what he doesn't like, what turns him on, what doesn't turn him on. Like there has to be certain things that you need to know about your partner. And I feel like just not mentally, but also sexually, you need to know like there are things that, like even icks, like little things that you know that if you do it, that will just irritate them. That's just like, let's not do that and say that we did. But like, I still feel like that's something that's definitely important. I feel like sex has to be up there. So I do see it, I can kind of see it as being 60%, maybe 50. Maybe 50, no, okay, let me not say 50. I'm lying to myself. Let me say 60. 65, 70% of the relationship does have to have a good sex life in it. Shout out to my Stanley Cup. Ever since I got it, I have not been like, first of all, I'm pissing like a racehorse, not gonna lie. I drink like at least 5 of these, 6 of these a day when I fill it up. So, shout out to my cousin for getting this for me for my birthday. But anyway, like I was saying, I just feel like it is a major part of your relationship, and it should actually be something that the both of you are taking serious, that you guys have like a compatibility when it comes to sexual wants and needs. I feel like it does take a toll when one person is not meeting the same sexual desires as you are. Like that would be like, think about it, like wouldn't that be kind of boring? Like, bro, I want not calling him bro, but it's like, bro, I want you to do this. And it's like, well, that's another question that was asked on here too. Are you okay with teaching your significant other or your partner things that you like in the bedroom that they may not have necessarily done before? And I had to answer that question myself. And if I'm being honest, I said no. Because I kind of want you to like have this idea of like, this is what I know her body. Like I said, like I know her, I know her body. This is what I like. This is what I know she likes. So let me do it. But there are people who actually have to like learn their person. Someone else said, who said it? Was it Mr. Walker? Mr. Walker podcast. Go check him out. He's on YouTube as well. Mr. Walker, he said that he didn't think that it was okay for the, what he said? Something about like, if the sex is too good the first time, then it's not going to last. And at first I'm just like, wait, huh? Like, isn't that something that you want? You want the sex to be great the first time? He was like, no, you don't want it to be great the first time, because if it is, you have nothing else to look forward to. You already know how this person performs. Whereas I guess if you get someone who you have to teach, it's completely different. Now, again, it's everyone's personal. How you choose to go about your sexual life is how you choose to go about your sexual life. This is a judgment-free zone. What you do in the bedroom and who you do in the bedroom with is not my concern. But all I'm saying is, I don't know if I really want to teach someone. Like, you should know, like I said, you should just know my body. After a while, you're going to get to know my body. After a while, you're going to know, okay, if I kiss her here, this is like, that's her little spot. If I rub her here, she gets chills. If I do it, same thing for us. If I rub my nails like up his back, that makes him feel like this. If I pull his ear, or if I, like, touch his ear, that makes him act like that. There's just certain things I feel like after a while, like when you're dating, you just start to get to know, like, certain touches, certain areas that's like, okay, this turns him on, that turns her on. And then I guess it resonates into the bedroom. I could be the only one thinking this, but this is just my idea. This is just my thinking. So going back to, like, the guy who was a 2 for me, I didn't feel it. And honestly, this is me thinking about it now. Even when me putting my own theory to practice, at the time, I didn't really put the two together. Like, kissing was okay. It wasn't bad, but I didn't feel anything. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm talking about when I say you didn't feel anything. Like, that spark wasn't there. Like, it was there, but it wasn't like 4th of July fireworks, if you get what I'm saying. Then it was the touch. The touching was there. A little bit here and there, but it's like he didn't know how to just, like, even like an arm caress. He didn't know how to do that properly. At least for me. He didn't know how to, like, to properly touch me in a way that made me feel like, and ladies, you know what I'm talking about, like how you want to just melt in your man's hands when they just touch you a certain way. I didn't get that. No. And when I think about that now, even outside of him, the guys who, like, that I've dated or was in a relationship with, who I actually had sexual relationships with, because everybody who I dated, I did not have sex with. Let's just put that out there, okay? But the guys who I did and the relationships that I was in, it wasn't, I want to say maybe 2 of them. 2 of them that I was just like, okay, you know me, you know my body, you really studied who I was and what I liked. Whereas everything else was just like, mediocre, bare minimum, little sprinkle, little razzle dazzle, but it wasn't like what you thought the person who would actually like you and want you would know how to handle you, if you get what I mean. So it was more, and the conversations on the live was hilarious. I'm telling you guys, I do my lives now. I've been doing it pretty persistent. I've been doing my lives on Wednesdays and Fridays. I do it on my personal Instagram, which is _sincerely Shelly, CHLLY, not CHELLY. And I'm trying to get more people into the Drinks After Work podcast. I always say this, but I try to get more people to get onto that one. That way I can live stream on there as well. But on my personal one, when I did the live, it was hilarious. Like, the guys, and I didn't think the guys would be so vocal, but they were very vocal about rating themselves. A lot of guys gave themselves 7s, 8s. They never gave themselves higher than that. I think one did. One probably gave himself like a 9 or a 10. But all the other guys were just very, like, humble in the sense of, like, I could be better, or if I really like you. And that's a thing too. Guys said that if they really like you, they give you your best. Which I guess makes sense. If you're just a wham bam thank you ma'am, they're probably going to only give you a 6 or a 7. Whereas if it's someone who's really into you, they're going to give you all of you. And I wonder if, like, as women, are we able to do the same thing? Like, can we give our all to someone who we really don't like? But then again, I also feel like that's how, I'm not saying I did this, but I'm going to say it. Like, the fake moan. We're notorious for that. Women are we are notorious for giving fake moans. Mom, Dad, cover your ears. I have faked moan once. A few times. Let me not say once. I'm lying. It was a few times. I did. And I guess that's me just giving, like, my, okay. Ooh, yeah. It wasn't that good. And I guess I really wasn't into it either. So I think that's what made it difficult if I really wasn't into it. But I feel like, in that sense, I could have gave myself a 7 if that was the case. I could have gave myself a 7 if I'm rating myself on that situation. But guys do also rate themselves based on how they really like the girl. They'll give you what they feel like you deserve in that moment because this is how they feel about you. So that was interesting to find out, which I never really thought about guys actually doing that. Another guy actually mentioned how he rated himself based on the amount of liquor he consumed. Now, having sexual relations off of liquor is dangerous. That's how a lot of babies have come into this beautiful world. Well, chaotic world, but this beautiful world nonetheless, off of liquor. And especially dark liquor. I'm not going to say a certain name because we're not being sponsored here, but a certain liquor, a certain dark liquor that I think everybody knows, a lot of babies have been conceived by. But a lot of people say they're really more so on the tequila wave now. So that was interesting too. Having tequila sex instead of having dark liquor sex is different. Someone said that too. Someone also mentioned, or I asked, is vacation sex different from at home sex? And they said, absolutely. Vacation sex, you're doing it every single night. Whereas at home, you have all these responsibilities. So you're going to do it here and there, maybe once a week, maybe once a week, maybe twice a week. Some people have done it like once every 2 weeks. Again, not judging your life, not mine. But they did say that vacation sex is way more interesting, way more fun, which I agree too. It is. But sometimes the resort liquor is so like bleh. Like you have to like buy your own liquor to really like enjoy yourself in a sense. So I guess people have said that they've done that like they would go to the stores and they would buy themselves their own bottles for the room and they would enjoy themselves. So nonetheless, a lot of people have had whack experiences. And I was surprised. I felt like, because we're such a hypersexual generation and everything is just so like sex here, da, 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 da. A lot of people have said that they had very bad experiences. And I was just like, okay. But nonetheless, guys, if you had bad experiences, it's okay. We've all had them. If it wasn't that good, break it to them lightly. I don't think you need to be rude if it wasn't. If they ask, then say it. If they don't ask, then just mind your manners and just keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself. Keep it in the chat, but in the group chat. But don't go out here just exploiting people and name dropping. Don't do that. I mean, I know I just said the person who I had dealt with back in the day, a long time ago. But I'm not going to name drop, and I'm not going to say anything else about him, but I'm just gonna he's a good person, he's a great person, he's a nice person, he's a good human, but just it wasn't there, and possibly it has gotten better over the years. I don't know, maybe. But there's a nice way to break it to them if they ask, because some men ask, some men ask like, well, how was it, could I have done something differently? And I feel like girls will ask. No, I never asked. But I feel like some women will want to know, like, could they do something better? Even us women getting older, we may not be as flexible as we used to be. So it may be a little different. Things may not, knees may not bend the way it used to. The leg may not be able to go back all the way. Hey, listen, like I said, there are nice ways for everybody to say how they feel about their partner if they ask, or if you want to throw a suggestion. I would be wary about throwing suggestions, but it depends. I guess it really depends on your partner. It depends on who it is you're talking to, right? Because you know them, so if the comfortability is there for you to have this conversation and say, okay, hey, let's try this next time, or what about that next time, to change up the dynamic in the bedroom. So there's nothing wrong with that. So try it, see what happens. And you don't have to let me know. But this was one of the after dark episodes that was actually really hilarious. I wish I would have saved the live because it was so funny. But yeah, it was like, I'm thinking back to those conversations that we had on the live, and it was just hilarious. But nonetheless, I hope you guys have a great week. I hope you guys continue to do great things. Keep praying, keep putting God first, and I will be back next week with another episode. It may be another After Dark episode. It may be it's going to still be another dark After Dark. Speak, Michelle. It's going to be another After Dark episode. Who knows what it will be about first, but whatever. We're going to roll with it. I have so many things to talk about. But nonetheless, I thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you guys tune in every Monday at 6 p.m. for the new episodes that are coming out. And if there is anything that you guys want to talk about, please let me know on Instagram. I'm always welcome to hear what you guys want to talk about. I'm always welcome to hearing, what's new, which I want to talk about, what's going on. So I thank you guys for watching. I thank you guys for listening. Have a good week. Leave whatever happened today into today. Don't bring that shit into tomorrow, okay? Love you. Bye.